Hi everyone, welcome to Single Value. So today we're going to talk about the MJ stocks. Obviously things have fallen and there's probably a lot of people wondering why, because things are going so well. Well, that's the problem. When things go too well, eventually things do have a correction, people do sell down. We're also looking at a long weekend, so a lot of people who are potentially traders in this market and a lot of people who would have brought these type of stocks would have been selling down. People would have seen the value being so high, taken this opportunity to short it at the peak. So we have, say, like Tilray, which got, the closing price on its high was $63, and we know it got to as high as like $70, and now it's at $32. So a massive correction in some sense, and also a massive sell down depending on which wording you like to choose. Same thing with Canopy Growth, though the rise and fall hasn't been as bad with Canopy Growth. It's gone from the high of $52 to $40, and in Cronos Group, negative 21%, going from a high of $15 to $12. So again, not as bad. Looks like, as Tilray was the one that was the focus of everyone pumping it upwards, it's going too quick. But now it's back up to this territory where things are more relative and on a fair value basis. So we'll continue with like some of the other ones. So same with Aurora didn't like boost up as much, so you can kind of see the pattern. The ones that didn't rise so much didn't fall as much, and same thing with Aphria, and it's from $26 to $16. So this one connected to Tilray quite a bit, so it had a massive drop as well. And the same thing with Sundial. It did really well. It came down a bit. It's actually out of all of them, I think Sundial's managed to come out better in most cases, because this is a stock that basically was around this, probably like 80 something cents in like a few weeks ago, and now it's at $2.38. So even though it's fallen 19%, it's still relatively high. And it's 3.5 billion valuation. So I'd definitely say Tilray and Aphria has been sold down a lot more. And mind you, these two have a merger together. So if they were to merge today, at this 5 billion valuation, we'll essentially be seeing a valuation that's much lower than Canopy Growth. And mind you, once they merge, they're going to be the largest company in this MJ sector. So you just have to remember the fundamentals. Obviously, people are trading on technicals, people are buying and selling on momentum. But if you kind of step back a bit and look at the overall picture is actually much nicer than it today would look. So obviously this sector's it usually gets hyped up quite a bit, but compared to like previous years when things were doing well, things have really changed this year. A lot of things have been legalized, a lot of things will continue to be legalized, and regulation's going to be in the favor of these companies. So if you brought in and you're potentially in the red, I'd say it's definitely worth holding into the longer term situation, particularly with MJ being like legal on a federal basis. We know a lot of states are becoming legal. So you look at the fundamentals. Of course, unless you're a trader and you just don't want to hold long in the long term, I think there's going to be a bounce from these. Usually when things fall quite a bit, they either fall for like maybe consecutive days, or it's a massive fall and a bounce right afterwards. So it just really depends what happens tomorrow. But I think something like Tilray, which has fallen like 50%, you probably might see some bargain buyers trying to jump in at this 5 billion valuation, because they're actually, in a sense, they're kind of worth what they are worth right now. Like these companies have actually justified their revenues and they've got a huge potential ahead of them. So the valuation right now, if it goes any lower, it actually starts entering a territory where it starts to be like very cheap in a sense for these type of stocks, because we know what's coming up ahead of these companies. They're going to have this massive opportunity once things are legalized. But not even in that case. Like if we look at Tilray and we look at all the opportunities they've been signing up in Europe, this company already has a massive growth trajectory right ahead of it. So yeah, like I wouldn't say there was going to be like the same problems that they had in the past where they couldn't get enough sales, the margins were bad. I think the minute they merge with Aphria, things start to scale really well. They'll have a lot of demand for their products. They are a global company, and they will start to look at break even to profitability in the next 12 to 24 months, which will be pretty interesting for like a company like this. And the same thing with Canopy Growth. Like the reason why Canopy Growth held so well is because it was not the subject of a massive pump. People have focused on the fundamentals of Canopy, and yes, it did drop, but that was a whole sector-wide thing when everything dropped. So with Canopy Growth, it's held it really well in the sense of things, because those fundamentals are there. And the thing with Tilray and Aphria is those fundamentals are also there as well, but I think it's been well oversold. If we base it on this Canopy Growth valuation of $15 billion, you would say Aphria and Tilray are definitely worth more, because the minute they merge and become the largest, you would say the largest should be worth the most. Right now we're just having a whole sector sell down just for today. We don't know about tomorrow, but usually that's the case when things have risen up so quickly. Things do fall for a correction, and then they continue as it usually does. That's just the market. If you're not used to it, you probably should get used to it, because it happens every so often. Recently it was like GameStop, but GameStop was a full out pump, and the same with AMC. Things went up, though institutions did have a massive play in the downfall of it. With Tilray, there's no single cause that we can point the finger towards. We can say the valuation was high, there's people shorting it, it's a long weekend, people want to take their profits, and in combination, when pricing starts to fall, people panic and sell out, whether they made a loss or a profit. So there's many reasons. I would say always try to keep a cool head around these things, look at the fundamentals. That's why I don't like buying into things that are hyped up, that sell at a huge premium. But I'm looking at these stocks right now and what events are ahead of them, and I think this year is going to be a very nice year for these type of stocks. So even though we've seen such a massive fall, I think the fundamentals are still there, and the value is definitely still there as well. So I don't think it's obviously a sell down's never nice. It's never great looking at your account and going, oh, it's in the red. It's more the fact that, hey, what's the fundamentals? I mean, this is where the part where if you're a trader, it's really difficult making decisions because you don't know where to head. But if you're a long-term investor, you look at the fundamentals and you know where to head. You either hold or you sell. If you believe in the fundamentals, you hold. If you don't believe in anything else on it, then you sell. So it's just a matter of as simple as that. And you just get off your day. Do not panic. Do not overthink things, because I think a lot of people tend to overthink this whole process. It should just be simple. If the investing decision is not simple, then you've obviously got yourself into something complicated that is possibly beyond you. And I would always advise, always keep things simple. Invest in companies that are simple enough to understand, and that has strong fundamentals, because when the price goes against you, as it has today, then what are you going to do? Like, how do you talk to yourself in this situation and go, how do I keep cool-headed and how do I make the right decision? Because when things are falling and you panic, you're going to make a wrong decision. So I really want you to take this today and go, how would you organize your decision making so that in the future it benefits you? When things are going well, everyone seems like a genius, but when things are going badly, the biggest question is, what do you do? And that's where the genius should come out. So yeah, so when you're looking at this and you're potentially panicking, like if you obviously bought at a really high price, then that's always a big kicker. So I think if you believe in a sector, you either average down or hold on. But if you don't believe in a sector and you just brought in for the hype, then potentially you might just want to see what happens next, or you sell and try to find something better. That's the matter of the story. You just have to look at what type of investor are you, how long's your time frame, and how much of a belief do you have in what you've invested into. And then that's gonna help you with your decision making. But what I see today is it's a very classic things going up too quick and then things coming down in the same speed as well. And that's just very normal with stocks. As Peter Lynch used to say, it's not how hard your head is, it's actually how hard your stomach is, because your head can think about these things, but if your gut can't take it, you're going to start to make a wrong decision. So yeah, I'd say there's, as much as things are down, like, don't panic. Just think about what decisions you have to take from here onwards, because obviously things have fallen, and you probably could have looked at your previous days and gone, well, if I had sold, I would have made a profit, but no, I held on and I didn't make a profit. Well, that's the tough decision. But if you bought a lot earlier and you're in the profit situation and you're thinking whether you should take a profit, that's a good decision to have, to be honest. If your decision is whether you should take profit or not, that's fully up to you on that, and it's a good situation to always be in. That's why you always buy at a margin of safety, because it ensures that if the price falls, you aren't too badly damaged. But if you buy something at a premium, that's when the calamity happens. That's when the biggest damage happens to your portfolio, because you've brought in really high, and when it takes a correction, bang, you lose quite a lot of money. So hence why you always buy at a margin of safety, or you always keep money on the side to continue buying, especially if you believe in the stock. Like, there's nothing worse than not believing in the stock or not understanding what the stock does, and then it going against you and you don't know what to do. So I think this is the time where you think about your decision making, think about whether this is the type of company you want to be invested in, and then keep a cool head, and then see where things go. Like, I think, yeah, usually based on when things have fallen so much, they usually have a bounce, and I think that kind of takes the pressure off, gives you the decision if you want to buy or sell afterwards. And yeah, well, I guess continue holding in a sense, or selling. I think if you like the companies, then you would be buying at these prices. You would be going, oh, there's a 50% discount, and that's the type of situation. Like, if you're a buyer, you're pretty happy. If you're holding the stock, then obviously you're not going to be happy. So yeah, I think that's more or less your considerations. And yeah, there's no, as much as there's news headlines and everything, there's no like single point decision that has caused these stocks to fall. It's just a matter of the crowd, and the crowd has spoken today, and the crowd has decided to sell. That's the matter. As there's no complication in details. It's as simple as that. Until then, if you've got any comments or questions, just post below. Until then, yeah, good luck investing, everyone, and I hope if you're holding these stocks that we have a nice rebound tomorrow and you can make some good decisions after that.